G'day fellow moto vloggers and everyone. Ruby the Suzuki Bandit. Yeah, the poor bike hasn't been out for a while. It's well, we've had a heat wave, and last Sunday Cooper Pedy, which is a small place north of Adelaide, what's the hottest place on earth that day. So yeah, it got pretty hot here, 44.1. And boy, am I glad that's over for the time being. I know there's probably more coming, because our hottest month of the year is February. Whew. So hopefully the high 40s or the mid 40s are gone. That'd be nice. And get a bit more riding in, as Ruby was complaining. It thought its throat was cut because I hadn't taken it out for a while. I mean, oh, Ruby should go out in 44 degree heat, no sweat, but not me, too hot. I was watching Adventures with Woody Graham, and he was mentioning about how his bike runs in the cold. Well, this beast here does not like the cold. It hates the cold weather until it's warmed up, and it'll pop and carry on and things like that. And I've been mucking around with it a little bit. I call it the mixture screws. I think that's incorrect, but anyway, I think people know what I'm talking about. And Ruby has always pretty much run on two turns out. So I put her on the recommended 2.5, which is pretty normal for motorcycles, and it wasn't too bad, but again, it was still not good when it was cold. Popping and coughing and all that sort of thing. So I tried 3 turns out, rode it for a little while. That was alright. Put it back to 2 turns out when it got a bit warm, but it was still sort of coughing and popping and all that sort of business. So decided a while back now to put it back to three turns out, and it's been good ever since. So whether the exhaust does it, or is it because I've got a K&N filter, air filter, that it lets more air in and not as much fuel, I don't know, but it seems to be running a lot better with 3 turns out of the screws. So I'll keep it at that for the time being. Or is it just because it's getting a bit older? I don't know. It's very interesting, isn't it, folks? She's getting a bit old. The tank pad, well, what I did is I took it off and I trimmed it back a bit and stuck it back on, because I have ordered another one. Whether it's coming from Australia or China, because you can't be sure these days. They make out they're in AU, but they're not. They do the same in the UK. I've heard Steve's Hornet 900 say they make out they're in the UK as well, and they're not, and they get sent from Hong Kong or China or something. So it might be a little while, so I had to do something, because I don't really want to scratch my tank. and I just cut it back a bit. And, I'll use that for the time being until the new Tampax comes in, and hopefully this time I'll install it a bit straighter. Yeah, so the week looks reasonably cool this week, so I should be able to get a bit more riding out and give Ruby a bit of a run, because it doesn't really like standing around either. It likes to be run, and well, I can now, so for a few days give it a bit of a run. So Bandit Nev on Ruby the Suzuki Bandit, bidding you all very, 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 very safe riding, and until next time, cheers for now.